But again, people get annoyed, but it's fun. How does the Detroit media today have an afternoon with Matt Patricia, the new Lions coach, and not ask him a question, A, about the defensive performance against the Eagles, or B, about Malcolm Butler? I mean, how the hell could you sit there and be a accredited member of the media in Detroit, a major market, with a good newspaper that's been around for 100 years, and you get the guy there standing right in front of you, and you don't raise your hand up and say, Matt, we'll talk Lions in a second. I got to ask you 3 days ago, what happened? I mean, that was an atrocious defensive performance. And after you answer that, tell me about why Malcolm Butler didn't play. How in the world is that question not answered? I mean, I understand it's about Matthew Stafford and the Lion roar and get him back to respectability and all that nonsense, and let's see if Stafford can finally ever win a playoff game. I get all that. Another guy who's overrated as a QB, never in his life has he won a playoff game. Him and Cousins. Never in his life. He's never won a playoff game. I mean, can we take him out of the Hall of Fame, at least for a minute? Can you win a playoff game? I mean, I understand he wins some nice come-from-behind wins against the Bears, but can you win a playoff game? But how in the world can you sit there at the Detroit Free Press or the Detroit radio station or whatever the case might be and sit there and not ask Patricia, Matt, your defense, we hired you as head coach, and your defense spit the bit 72 hours ago against the backup quarterback. Why? How is that question unasked? They asked about his stupid beard that nobody in America cares about, except maybe the Betty Ford, the owner, whoever her name is, who I don't want to get on her. She sort of tried to kept the scenario fixed, try to fix up the situation a little bit. She is the wife of Henry Ford, who died, the grandson. So, I mean, we're going to lay low on that. But how it's about the beard. Who cares what kind of beard he's wearing? Win games. But how in the world can you not ask that? That is, to me, that is just awful. I mean, I understand that you think and if you think your Detroit audience doesn't care, you're nuts. How does anybody in Detroit not want to hear that answer regarding the whole situation with Patricia's defense there against the Eagles? How about Dungy today? Speaking of, I like what Dungy, we tried to get Dungy on. I texted Eddie, didn't know what the number. I tracked him down. Haven't read the article, but I can tell you there is no excuse big enough to justify this, Dungy. It's one thing to go back on your word to an organization, but having assistant coaches leave jobs to go with you, then leave them out to dry is indefensible. For comfort, now, the one problem I have with Tony on that, remember, the assistant coaches go to Indianapolis, they get a promotion. Eddie, you can look up. I think he has 3 assistant coaches on staff. I believe all of them were positional coaches with previous jobs and were promoted. Because I don't think you're allowed to make a lateral move in the NFL. You have to get promoted if you're going to go from one organization to another. So I can't sit there and it's not like the assistant coaches, they got a promotion and they're not going to get fired. They're going to sit there for a year. It's going to make it very awkward for the new coach. But the assistants, at least for a season, are okay. So, I mean, I don't buy that necessarily with what Dungy said, but and Dungy hates the Patriots anyway. But what a contrast in personalities, Dungy and Belichick. You'd love to have Dungy over for dinner, and maybe not Belichick, but you wouldn't want to have Dungy's record. You'd rather have Belichick's. It's kind of weird. But from a standpoint of the assistants, I think they are, at least at the moment, okay. John in Massachusetts, but the Detroit media today, that's a bad job. John in Mass says hello. John, welcome. How are you today? What's going on?
Hi, Chris.
Hello, John.
Nice to talk with you.
Good to have you aboard. What's up?
So I'm always one for a good conspiracy, and as I hear talk about McDaniels, I have to wonder. I don't think it's such a plum job. I think he was talked out of it over the course of the Super Bowl run there. But don't you think that Bob Kraft was in his ear? I mean, Irsay and Bob Kraft certainly don't get along. It was the Colts that started the whole Deflategate thing, and I'm sure there's no love lost.
Well,
there.
why did the only problem I have with that argument, and you're right, most likely, why wouldn't Kraft use these persuasive powers that you say has prior to him interviewing for the job?
Well, because I don't think,
he knew about it. He had to ask for permission. So, I mean, it's not like he didn't know. Why didn't he tell McDaniels before he took the interview, Josh, you want to go to Indianapolis? What are you, crazy? We're making the head coach here and Belichick quits. Why didn't he say it then?
They have, but but he was only a candidate at that point, Chris.
Yeah, we knew he was getting. No, hold on now. No, we knew he was going to get the job. Come on, and it's not like this is a guy. And we knew McDaniels. We knew no, John. We knew McDaniels was going to get a head coaching job somewhere. Now that's not fair. He was going to get a job.
Absolutely.
So why would the problem that I have with people thinking that Kraft used persuasive powers? Well, if he used so much persuasive powers and was evil about it, why didn't Kraft tell him not to interview to begin with? That's why I don't buy it. That's one of the reasons. I think McDaniels, it was a logical progression. Indianapolis it's a good division. It's a good stadium. It's a nice place to live, and you got a big quarterback. It's an attractive job. They've won a Super Bowl. Irsay is quirky, but he leaves you alone. Pagano was there for a long time. Ballard and him are represented by the same agent. The GM and McDaniels by the same agent. So you got the comfort of that. The general manager. I mean, to me, it's a good spot for him. To me. If Luck plays, that's a good job. The job today, folks, is all about the quarterback. The idea that there's a bad job, good job, the job could be in Saskatchewan. If you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, you're going to take it. Because the idea is to win. That's the idea. And, the great jobs without the quarterbacks are not nearly as attractive as the spotty medium market cities or the smaller towns that have the quarterback. I'd rather go to the place with the quarterback. Because who cares? Lombardi went to Green Bay. Who cares about? Did you want to live in Green Bay the rest of your life? But he won, and it's about winning. And you can make any town a big-time town if you win. So, and if you have the quarterback, you can very well do that. So that, to me, is the most important aspect of a job that you may take or may not take around the NFL. John in Jersey's on Mad Dog Unleashed. John, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hi, Chris. How are you?
All right, Johnny. Thank you. What's up? First-time caller. Good to have you with us, John. Fire away.
Thank you. Chris, if New England wins that game, does anything change?
Meaning what? That Irsay would that McDaniels doesn't want to leave on a bad note? What's the reasoning?
Correct. What do you think?
It's a good question. I can't answer that. I don't know McDaniels. I bitter taste in his mouth, a little more desperation out of Brady, having lost the game, not to lose his quarterback coach, his guru on top of that, so he's a little more persuasive in the last 48 hours. There might be something to it. Might be something to it. I can't answer that. If you won 2 Super Bowls with Brady, why stay? I don't know that. Good question. Johnny in D.C., and he's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Johnny, welcome. How are you today? What do you have for me?
Hey, Mad Dog Russo, how are you?
Johnny, I'm doing well. Thank you. What's up now?
Great. 3 quick points. I'm not an NFL executive. I'm not a player. But I am a lawyer and a businessman, and you do not count on a deal until the ink is dry.
I understand that.
Colts jump the gun.
Well, no. Hold on now. No, time out, John. Time out. First off, they're not allowed to sign him to a contract until the season is over. Pat Shurmur did not sign a deal with the Giants before the championship game. Matt Patricia did not sign a deal with the Lions before the last 48 hours. You are not allowed to put ink to paper. So the Colts didn't have any choice. They couldn't sign him. Not allowed in the NFL. It's a verbal understanding. It's a wink. That's what it is.
All right. Well, I have a lot of wink winks I wish turned to real for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. Go ahead.
All right. Second of all, and you hit the point on the assistant coaches, I don't feel too bad for them because they're moving up. They're going to make more money. They're going to be on the radar for some other coaches, some other organizations that perhaps they didn't know about. I think people are going to feel sorry for them a little bit, and that's not a bad way to go into your future. People wanting to help you.
That's a good point, too. I'm not worried about that. The assistants will be fine. 12 after the hour. We come right back here on Mad Dog Unleashed.